Welcome to Hey Mom, We Never Prepared for This, the show where we have the tough conversations around aging and caring for a loved one. Whether you're an adult child or an aging parent or anyone caring for a loved one, this podcast is for you. I am your host, Angela Vanderpool, and each episode we dive into actionable tips, heartfelt stories, and expert guidance to support you on your journey. Let's get started. Welcome back, everyone, to Hey Mom, We Never Prepared for This. I'm Angela Vanderpool, your host, and I hope that you all have enjoyed our last 5 episodes as we got to know the 5 communities that Dharma Healthcare manages. And we were able to understand a little bit more about the heart and passion that is a part of those communities. Today, I'm starting something a little different. We are going to be doing a short series on grief and loss. And grief is something we all will encounter in our lives, but when it hits us, it can sometimes hit in a really big way. It can leave us questioning everything, our sense of self, our faith, our stability, sometimes even our sanity. Suddenly, things that once felt simple become overwhelming, and the words, or sometimes worse, the silences of others can cut deeper than we ever expected that they could. The truth is, most of us were never really taught what grief is or how to handle it. And yet, it is one of the most universal experiences we share as humans. I want to start today by defining what grief is. Grief is not just about death. Grief is the normal and natural emotional reaction to any loss or change in life. That could mean death, but it could also mean divorce, a move, a job change, a decline in health, a loss of trust, even the loss of a pet. I know for me personally, those have been some of my biggest losses in my life. Sometimes these losses can be called disenfranchised grief because others might not see it as grief, but your emotions still feel those losses so deeply. Today, I want to just start to touch the surface of grief and cover a few of the important things that I want us to know about grief as we move through this series together. I want us to understand a little bit more and hopefully create a space where we feel a little bit less alone as we go through these times. Because as I said, we are all going to have experiences of grief and loss in our lifetime. So today, I just want to walk through 10 important things to know about grief. There are so many more that we are going to dive into deeper as we move through these podcast episodes. And I want us to hopefully be able to, from these understandings, offer a little more compassion to ourselves and to others as we try and be there for other people. The first thing I think is important for us to understand is grief can feel extremely overwhelming. We spend a whole lifetime learning how to acquire new things, new relationships, but it is rare that someone teaches us what to do when we lose them. And unfortunately, a lot of what we hear about grief or learn about grief is actually misinformation, and a lot of times can feel really unhelpful as we're processing through it. The second thing I really want to touch on is that grief is emotional. It's not intellectual. You may have heard people give logical reasons why you shouldn't feel bad and why you should move on. But grief lives in the heart. not in the head. Broken hearts do not heal with logic. And next, there are no universal stages of grief. You will hear a lot about the stages of grief, but that research was about people facing their own mortality, not survivors facing grief. When we try to package grief into a neat formula or neat boxes, it is not helpful and can make us feel like we're doing it wrong. But there is no wrong way to process through and work through your grief. The next thing I want to touch on is concentration. Really suffers when we're going through grief. We can a lot of times have trouble remembering things. We lose track of conversations. We're not sleeping well. We just have this kind of overall kind of like walking in a fog kind of feeling. And sometimes we feel like maybe that means we're doing this wrong, that we shouldn't be experiencing those things. But that is normal. That is a normal part of grief. Grief scrambles our ability to focus. The next thing I want to touch on is talking about a loved one that has died. This sometimes for friends, family around us, they don't want to mention the person's name and they avoid it, thinking maybe they're going to upset you. But really, most grievers, they want to hear those stories. That's a gift to them. And they want to talk about what they're going through and talk about what happened. And so I think it's really important for us to open that door for them to have those conversations. And when they do open that door, it's really important. I have heard so many times from people, oh, I know exactly how you feel. And that can be really off-putting to people when they're really struggling at the moment, because we don't know how someone else feels. We don't. We know possibly how we felt in a similar situation with a similar loss, but we have no idea how someone else feels, because each loss, each relationship is unique, and we need to honor that and say something more along the lines, I can't imagine what you're going through right now. And that can come across as much more genuine and authentic to someone. The other item I'd like to talk a little bit about, and we will dive into this more as we get into this series, is that myth that time heals all wounds. I hear this all the time, give it time. But if we're not taking action, seeking support, time only passes. Time can possibly lessen the intensity of what we're feeling, but time doesn't heal those wounds. It's us taking action and doing the work that helps us heal those wounds. The other thing that can be troublesome as we're walking through the grief journey is the different triggers that come up and that can really take us by surprise. A memory that sparks fresh pain that can oftentimes be linked to unsaid things or things we didn't get to do, things we wished would have been different, better, or more. And those moments can really hit us at surprise moments when we least expect them. And sometimes I think it makes us feel like we're going backwards or we're not properly dealing with our grief. But it's just a part of the process, and it's normal and natural. And it's important in those times to stay in our heart and not move to our logical head. Next, I want to make sure that we understand listening can be so powerful. It is really important, and I often remind people to practice and remember being a heart with ears, to really, truly, simply listen to people. That is so important and such a gift to give without us trying to fix or analyze or compare. We're just there. We're just there to sit with you as you share your story. That is a powerful gift to give to someone and can be challenging for us, but it can be so, so impactful for someone who's really going through a tough time. Every grief journey is unique. No list, no definition will perfectly fit your experience. And what matters is really knowing that you're not alone and that support is out there if you need it. As we go through this series, we'll look more closely at different aspects of grief, share some stories, and talk about practical ways to navigate this difficult terrain. And my hope is that you come away not only with understanding, but with more compassion for yourself and others who are grieving. And hopefully you'll feel more empowered to walk through that journey with someone else because you have some tools to be there for them. And the one thing I really want to emphasize is grief doesn't mean you're broken. It means you've loved deeply and you've lost. And now you're learning how to carry that love forward in a new way. If you are interested in learning more about the Grief Recovery Program, I encourage you to send me an email at angela@whisperingwinds.info. That email address will be linked in our show notes. And if you would like some further information, have some questions, I encourage you to reach out. And I want to thank you all for joining us today. And I can't wait to walk through this series with you all and hopefully give us all some more tools and ways to process through grief and be a better, more empowering, compassionate friend to others as they walk through this journey. And I look forward to seeing you all next time on Hey Mom, We Never Prepared for This. Thanks for tuning in to Hey Mom, We Never Prepared for This. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. It really helps us reach more adult children and their aging parents and loved ones. Special thanks to our sponsor, Dharma Healthcare Management, for supporting the show. Stay tuned for more honest conversations to help you find peace, clarity, and community with others who understand what you're going through. And we'll see you next time on Hey Mom, We Never Prepared for This.